built the Raybestos brakes giveaway car for this year, which is this beautiful 64 GTO R. We attached R to the end of it for Raybestos and also for racing. This is not your ordinary muscle car with some bolt-on catalog parts. It's a one-off, custom-built race car. One of the things you'll notice is the bumpers are kind of a silvery color and not chrome. That's because they're fiberglass. They weigh 3 pounds apiece. You see all the hood pins. This car has a lift-off hood. The hood is also fiberglass. You'll notice the yellow fog lamps. Those are genuine CB fog lamps that I found in Germany, NOS. They're exactly like the lamps that were used in the Trans Am cars of the 60s. It says 700 horsepower in the hood, and it does actually make 700 horsepower at the crank. It's a General Motors LSX 454 crate engine that we had Ted Papuga at Opel Engineering in Streamwood, Illinois do some work on. He changed out the cam for a more specific cam dealing with road racing, RPM ranges, as well as the Hilborn Stack injection. Just to show you something neat on this, it's not got window regulators. This is an old racer trick to get rid of the weight of the window regulator. It's just a seat belt strap with a snap in the end of it. All the glass in this car, except for the windshield, is actually from a company called Shields in Indianapolis, Indiana. It's polycarbonate. Weighs half what glass weighs. Something you'll notice first when you look in the inside of the car is that first thing you're greeted by is a door X. This car has a SCCA Solo Modified E cage in it. It'll qualify for this car to have the winner go racing with Solo Modified at any SCCA road course event. The seats are actually the original 64 GTO seats that were in this car. If you look at the dashboard of the car, you'll see that it has a dash insert rather than the stock 64 GTO dash. We wanted to give the car more of a road race feel, and you know, the stock GTO only has a couple of gauges in it. We used a piece of engine turned aluminum, made an insert. It's populated with Stewart Warner gauges. A lot of people don't realize that back in the 60s there wasn't Autometer and all the other companies that make gauges today. There was Stewart Warner. Well, we discovered that the gauges that they made in the mid-60s they actually still make. So we ordered up a slew of Stewart Warner gauges from them and populated the dash with that. You'll also see a lot of so-called idiot lights on the dashboard. Something that a lot of people don't realize about the GTOs is that they were inspired by the racing in Europe, and the auto manufacturers here were trying to bring road racing to the United States. One of the races in Europe that you have to start from a dead stop with the engine off. So what the drivers would do is they'd put the key so that you turn the car on with your left hand and could have your hand on the shifter because you couldn't be in gear either. So the GTOs actually came from the factory with the key on the left-hand side. You'll see there's 3 pedals in the car. This car is a stick shift, as all road race cars ought to be. It has a Magnum T56 from Tremec, which is their new version of the T56. It'll handle 800 foot-pounds of torque. It runs a Hurst shifter with Hurst's new Blackjack shifter. It's connected to the engine with a QuickTime bell housing, and the power is transmitted through a McLeod Street Twin clutch. It's a dual disc clutch to handle the power the motor puts out. Here we'll see that the deck lid is attached to the car with Zeus fasteners. That's because the deck lid is also fiberglass. It weighs 5 pounds. There's a cutoff switch. This is an emergency cutoff switch. No matter what track you're at, usually they all require you have an emergency cutoff switch that kills the power to the entire car in case there's a fire or electrical problem, the driver's incapacitated. For the wheels and tires, we picked American Racing 200s. They just brought these back out. Rear wheels are 17 by 11s. The fronts are 17 by 8s. One thing you'll see peeking through the spokes of the wheel there are the Raybestos brakes that are on this car. The lucky winner of this car is going to have a really fun time with it, especially because there's $25,000 worth of NASCAR Sprint Cup short track and road course brakes on the car, and it stops on a dime. You don't use the stock Pontiac fuel door to fill the car anymore. There's actually these fuel fillers. There's one on each quarter panel of the car, and a lot of people will wonder why there's a fuel filler on both sides. In the 60s, during the Trans Am circuits, they raced at one of the tracks in California, and the circuit was Riverside International Speedway. And the track ran clockwise, so that when the cars came into the pits, the passenger side was on the pit side, and of course the fuel guy can't go on the track side of the car, so they had to have one filler for one track for the entire circuits. They both function. They're not look-alike or just for show only. They both function. It's kind of a neat feature. The rear suspension is Hot Rod Chassis and Cycle Zone proprietary 4-link rear suspension. The front suspension is all completely adjustable. You can adjust for roll center, and of course there's lots of caster and camber options you can put in the car. The car gets excellent road manners. It rides really nice, 17 miles to the gallon all the way here from Chicago, and it accelerates like nobody's business. If you win this car, you're really going to have a blast with it.